I was still trembling as I knelt firmly on the ground, holding onto Adam's calf. I died of a heart attack 1 second ago, and the next second I was transmigrated into this book where same-sex marriage is legal and started to act recklessly. I transmigrated into the cannon fodder male wife of the villainous boss. I despised his disability, constantly trying to provoke him, and even openly cheated on him. The key point is that the boss was faking his disability. Not only was he in perfect health, but he could also take down 10 guys like me with a single punch. The plot has developed to the point where I got married to the boss and humiliated him in public. It's over. It's over. I'm alive, but it seems I won't live long. Adam's voice was cold. Let go. I cried with snot and tears. I won't let go. Hubby, my heart for you is as clear as day. The reason I spoke ill of you is that I was inferior. I didn't want others to discover your goodness. I was afraid they would compete with me for you. So I deliberately slandered you outside. Husband, I'm telling you the truth. Please say something. I cried until my face was a mess, unable to speak through my sobs. There was a deathly silence all around. I admit I was taking a gamble, but if I didn't do this, with the villain's narrow-mindedness, I wouldn't live for more than 2 days. Thinking of this, I really wished I could punch the original owner twice. You're in good health, and your husband doesn't interfere with you. He only transfers money to your card regularly. This kind of dream life is what every lazy person dreams of. Why didn't you cherish it? Besides, from my perspective as a gay man, someone like Adam is absolutely the ideal type. Isn't it just that he has difficulty walking? What a lack of taste. There's a unique charm to being in a wheelchair. Just then, Adam spoke up. Guards, take him back to his room. I was still feeling optimistic as they lifted me up. As long as they don't throw me out like in the original plot. It's just that I don't know the way back to the room. It's really great to have someone carry me. Apparently, I underestimated the perversity of the villain. I was tied to a chair by them. Listen, guys, I have a small request. I said politely. I don't mind being tied up, but could you please put something under my wrists? My skin is quite sensitive. The guards kept their expressions serious as they looked at the red marks on my wrists. I have to say, it really looked scary. They exchanged glances and then lowered their heads to make a phone call. After a few words of communication, they tied me even tighter. Okay, fine. It doesn't matter. I'll just accept it and go to sleep. When Adam came in, he probably didn't expect to find me already asleep and snoring. He woke me up with a straight face, sat on the wheelchair, and leaned in to look at me. His expression was unreadable. You really don't care much, do you? Speak. Who are you? I was still half asleep when I suddenly saw that handsome face just 2 fingers away from mine, thinking it must be a dream, so I eagerly leaned in. Handsome, come here and give me a kiss. I ended up kissing empty air. Adam grabbed my jaw firmly. Playing dumb? I was startled awake. This is the villain who could take my life at any moment in the original plot. I stammered. If I were to say that I've liked you for a long time, would it be too late to call you hubby right now? Adam's tone was indifferent. You should ask me if I believe you. I obediently repeated his words. Do you believe me? Adam looked at me with a cold expression and tightened his grip. Don't test my patience. After pondering for a moment, I decided to come clean. I don't know either. The moment I opened my eyes, I was already here. I swear, if I'm telling even half a lie, may I never eat meat or get rich in this life. That was the harshest oath I could think of. Adam paused for a moment, then suddenly extended his hand and snapped his fingers. Several bodyguards rushed out from the surroundings and unplugged the wires that had been attached to my body without me noticing. One of them respectfully looked at Adam and reported, the device showed no reaction. He wasn't lying. Good Lord, I'm being completely honest with you, yet you're playing games with me. Why would you use such an advanced lie detector on me? Don't I have human rights? I struggled a bit, only to find myself still firmly trapped in the chair. Oh, I don't. I looked at Adam with a pitiful expression. Hubby, can you untie me now? My wrists hurt, and my legs are numb. Adam frowned. What did you call me? Hub. Under Adam's gloomy stare, I swallowed the word and respectfully changed my address. Boss, can I follow you from now on? You see, I'm new here and don't know anyone. Adam turned to the lead bodyguard. Take him to my bed and tie him up. Wait. Is it really moving this fast? I glanced at Adam's tense jawline and blurted out, no need to tie me up. I can go by myself. Adam looked at me as if I were completely clueless. The situation evolved into me lying on the bed while Adam sat in his wheelchair, staring closely at me. What are your intentions? My mind went blank, and I recalled a classic line from romance dramas. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to love you. His eye twitched, and for once, his usually cold expression showed something understandable. Utterly speechless, his voice dropped as he asked, "What's wrong with you?" "It's lovesickness. I'm sick from loving you." Adam walked away. His face turned dark with anger, and he spun his wheelchair around, moving surprisingly fast as he turned back. I rushed forward in a flash. "Honey, let me help you." Adam looked at me with a cold expression for a long moment, his gaze holding a deeper meaning before he said, "All right, then we'll do it together." As I pushed the big shot into view of everyone, I felt like a common chicken that had wandered into a phoenix's nest. Basically, no one even glanced at me. I was thrilled, so I huddled in the corner to eat cupcakes. Just as I reached for the fifth one, my hand was grabbed. A slick guy with a greasy slicked back hair looked at me affectionately. "My little darling, how did things go?" "Help, I felt sick." A second later, using my clever brain, I quickly figured out the relationships between everyone. The slick guy standing opposite me was exactly the original host's lover. He had asked the original host to steal the bidding documents from Adam's computer, wanting to use this chance to backstab the villain. I thought it over, then curled my finger at him. "This isn't the place to talk. Come with me." He followed me all the way to the restroom, his expression growing increasingly anxious. "Well, did you manage to get it from that disabled guy?" I slowly rolled up my sleeves, and with his anxious gaze upon me, delivered a sharp straight punch right to the bridge of his nose. He clutched his nose, so much in pain that he couldn't even scream. I stretched a bit and gave him 2 hard kicks. "You think you can scheme against my husband? You deserve every bit of this." Feeling refreshed, I stood up just as Adam pushed open the door and our eyes met. My brain short-circuited for a second, and I became overly enthusiastic. "Honey, did you come to use the restroom too? Let me help you." Adam glanced at me, then maneuvered his wheelchair over to stand next to the man. The wheel rolled precisely over the man's hand. The man let out a shrill scream and was almost in a state of fainting from the pain. Adam gave the man a cold glance. His eyes were deep, his expression sharp as a blade. How can someone look so handsome even with such a stern face? I stood aside and muttered in awe, "Such a good-looking husband. I just want to kiss him silly." Adam froze for a moment. His usual cold demeanor cracked like broken glass, revealing sheer disbelief. "Thomas." "Shut up." "Oops." I accidentally let my thoughts slip out. His tone was fierce enough, but it didn't match the bright red tips of his ears. No matter how you look at it, he was just putting on a show. I let out a little chuckle and pushed him toward the exit. "Let's go, darling. Don't bother with him." Adam jammed the wheels, though his voice was noticeably softer now. "Stop calling me that." Not only were his ears red, but his whole face had flushed as well. I never expected the villainous boss to be so innocent. "I'm totally smitten." Then I looked at the man lying on the floor, his face contorted in pain. I shook my head. It was obvious who was better. Did the original owner never enjoy a decent meal in her life, turning down such a handsome husband just to ask for trouble? When I stepped out, the male lead Lincoln was holding a girl close. They looked so affectionate and in love. In the original plot, Lily's family were indeed the ones responsible for Adam's parents' deaths. But because the protagonists fell in love, Lincoln righteously lectured Adam to let go of his hatred and not harm Lily's parents. One is the daughter of the enemy, and the other is his own cousin. If you ask me, Adam was a bit too lenient for the villain in the early stages. Had I heard Lincoln spout such naive nonsense, I would have already smashed a bottle over his head. Seeing us approach, Lincoln's expression grew wary as he shielded Lily behind him. I pushed Adam forward and executed a cool U-turn, leaving the couple with a dramatic silhouette before walking away without hesitation. Lincoln's face was so dark, he looked like he was about to burst. "Adam, did you not understand what I told you last time? This is my final warning. Lily didn't do anything wrong, so you can't." "Hey," giving him too much credit there. "With such a low IQ, what kind of male lead are you?" I copied his move, stepped in front of Adam, and rolled up my sleeves. "Lily may be innocent, But does that mean my husband isn't? Let's get one thing straight. The people of the Lin family did those despicable things and deserve what they got. You and Lily are living happily ever after, so why should my husband pay for your love? Lincoln was stunned into silence, his face turning pale. What does that have to do with you? Good question. Then what business is it of yours when my husband seeks justice? The more I spoke, the angrier I got, thinking about Adam's tragic ending in the original story where everyone turned against him. I immediately threw $20 out of my bag. Hurry to the hospital and check your brain. Hopefully, can still be fixed. Lincoln, furious and frantic, grabbed me and pulled me forward, his fist raising to strike my face just seconds later. But Adam stopped him with a sharp command. Even though he was sitting in his wheelchair, the look in his eyes as he gazed at Lincoln was full of disdain and coldness. Let go. Lincoln couldn't believe it. Brother. It's clearly him. She is your sister-in-law. Show some respect. Besides, I don't think I did anything wrong. Leaving Lily alone was the last favor I'm doing you. I gave a thumbs up and whistled. Hubby, so cool. Adam looked at me helplessly, a hint of a smile on his lips. Stop being cheeky and push me to see Mr. John. All day long, I pushed Adam up and down the stairs in the mansion. We went through the garden and across the lawns, shouting, "Here comes the flying stick." I charged toward the flowers and grass. The butler's face turned green as he watched me. These were all bought by Adam at a high price. That rose cost 10 million per flower, and the orchids cost 15 million. I calculated frantically in my mind. It's over. Even if I started working since the Qin dynasty, I wouldn't be able to pay it off. Adam interrupted him. Doesn't matter. It's not that much money. Thanks. I'm really impressed. I don't know how the butler spread it afterward, but because of my offhand comment, Adam replaced all the plants I had crushed with vegetable seeds. The title of the male seducer who bewitched Adam was officially cemented. Thomas's reputation wasn't great to begin with, and now it got even worse. Everyone in the mansion avoided me whenever they saw me, terrified I would whisper in his ear. I just stayed in that big mansion for a month like this. Honestly speaking, it's really awesome. Not only were my food and drinks taken care of, but there was also plenty to do. If I got bored, the 5th floor had a gym, the 3rd floor had a game room, and there was even a home theater. Sitting in the home theater with its starry ceiling, I eagerly grabbed Adam's hand and said sincerely, "Husband, I love you so much." This time, Adam didn't shake my hand off. He just looked away and called the butler to bring up 2 more durians and mangosteens. Who gets it? I immediately pulled out my phone, opened Jihu, and posted frowny face, "What is the experience of having a god-like husband?" As soon as I had only gained 2 pounds, that jerk Lincoln kidnapped me. Those guys wore masks and tied me to a chair. Felt strangely familiar. I stared at Lincoln with a blank expression. Are you crazy? He looked resentful. As long as you make Adam stop and no longer target the Lin family, I'll let you go. I was completely fed up. Is this really something a protagonist would do? I tried to keep my language polite. Look, buddy, are you out of your mind? Does the whole world have to cater to your feelings? The 2 people from the Lin family who killed Adam's parents, that is, your uncles. Fine if you don't seek revenge, but do you forbid Adam from doing so too? Does this romance extend your life, or would the world end without it? What do you know? Lincoln's expression darkened. He set a trap to deceive Uncle Miles into financing, and now the Lin family is on the verge of bankruptcy. Lincoln frowned tightly. What kind of clean-handed good person do you think he is? Living with such a dark-hearted devil, don't you find it terrifying? I actually find that pretty scary. Hearing me say that, Lincoln's expression visibly softened, and he even put on an air of trying to reason with me. Rest assured, I won't hurt you. As long as Adam backs off and doesn't press Uncle Miles too hard, I'll let you go back. I really find you quite frightening, I said, looking at his smug expression with nothing but disgust. Uncle Miles's life matters, but does your own uncle's not? What do you know, it was just a failed financing deal. Lincoln shouted at me impatiently. Uncle Miles later explained to me that he didn't intentionally delay the loan approval. Do you really believe pigs can climb trees? What? I rolled my eyes, believing everything will only bring you harm. At your age, you should know better than to demand the whole world bend over backward for your romance. And just who do you think you are? Page, when he couldn't win the argument, He stuffed a rag over my mouth. This male lead has quite a dark side. Sounds of a fight came from outside the door. Lincoln, in his panic, pressed a knife against my neck and looked at me nervously. Several burly bodyguards surrounded Adam. His knuckles rested on the wheelchair, veins bulging as he frowned tightly. "Lincoln, did I treat you too well? That's why you dare to do something like this." His tone was firm, his expression stern, paired with his refined features, cold eyes and slightly pursed lips. He looked far softer than his words suggested. I just wanted to kiss him. Oh no, my head was itching. I must be falling for him hard. I blurted out, "Husband, you're so handsome." Before I could even admire Adam's reddened ears, I felt a chill on my neck. Lincoln's voice was cold. "Promise me you'll stop targeting the Lin family, and I won't hurt him. I'm done. Where is any trace of a protagonist here? This guy is just a complete idiot." I looked at Adam with a pitiful expression, blinking desperately. "Husband, I'm so scared." It was tender and lingering, even to the point of making myself cringe. Lincoln was also disgusted, frowning as he looked at Adam. "Brother, how could you fall for someone like this? He's so effeminate. It's disgusting. This guy says such nasty things. He doesn't understand the little moments between couples at all." I looked at Adam with a pitiful expression. "Husband, say something." "Husband." Adam didn't change his expression. "Stop pretending." "Fine." I suddenly stood up from the chair, grabbed his wrist behind my back, and slammed Lincoln hard onto the ground. "That's rude. You should call me sister-in-law. No, call me your husband." I thought for a moment and coined a new term. Lincoln was still lying on the ground, trying to process what had happened, when Adam's bodyguards pinned him down. He looked utterly bewildered. How did you?" I blinked and pointed to one of the bodyguards standing behind Adam. "Doesn't he look familiar to you? I noticed it back when I was kidnapped. They handed me a blade, but more importantly, one of them told me Mr. Gu is very worried about you." "Ah." My husband with the tough exterior and soft heart. I turned my wrist and walked toward Adam, full of witty remarks ready to spill out. Before I could say anything, Lincoln suddenly lunged from the ground, knife in hand, charging at Adam. No one expected him to attack Adam. The bodyguards stood stunned for a moment. I shoved Adam aside and delivered a firm kick to Lincoln's stomach. In the chaos, I felt something scratch my left arm. Lincoln, kicked to the ground, was restrained by the bodyguards again. This time, those burly men didn't care about his status and held him down tightly. Veins bulged on Lincoln's neck as he ground his teeth. "Adam, let me go. Don't you feel guilty doing this? Lily is innocent. She hasn't done anything wrong. You can't be so ruthless." It was clear that he was genuinely furious, defending Lily and the Lin family. In his eyes, Adam was nothing but a shameless villain with no sense of right or wrong. Honestly, I was too tired to even argue anymore. If he were really as righteous as he claimed, why did he kidnap me? Am I not innocent? To put it bluntly, people like Lincoln are just hypocrites. I directly took out my phone and called the police. Lincoln never imagined he'd ever end up with handcuffs on. As he was being led away, he looked completely dazed. "How dare you? Do you know who I am?" I just shrugged, too lazy to deal with him. Fiction isn't a lawless place. Even male protagonists have to follow the rules. "Okay." He turned his head to look at Adam again. Gritting his teeth, "You targeted Lincoln family first. When I find the evidence, I won't let you off." "Adam, because you're my cousin. I didn't want to go this far in the first place. It's because of you." Adam ignored him completely and turned to look at me, his brows slightly furrowed. "You're injured. Come here." Only then did I realize the sharp pain coming from my left arm. I approached him with a pout. Adam gripped my wrist, took a quick look down, and signaled for the police to stop. Then, against Lincoln's smug expression, he spoke coldly. "We demand an injury assessment." Once we got to the hospital, just complaining about dizziness twice could have made Lincoln face a heavier sentence. And that's before even mentioning the blood. Lincoln obviously realized this too. As his eyes widened and he opened his mouth to shout something, Adam waved his hand dismissively, as if watching someone haul away a piece of discarded large trash. "All right, take him away. I'll take my—" He hesitated for a moment, raised his head to look at me. After our eyes met, he quickly lowered them again, his ears turning red. I was very considerate. "You can call me husband. I'll call you husband too." We each call ours. It doesn't conflict. Adam pursed his lips, turned his head away from me, and politely nodded to the police. Thank you for your trouble. For anything else, please contact my lawyer. Men. So subtle and reserved. Lily ran over to find me. I don't know where she got her information, but she very generously slapped a check in front of me. Name your price. If you can make Adam drop any blame on Brother Yen, this 5 million is yours. To be honest, I was in need of money right then. During this time, the injuries on my arm had actually healed, but Adam insisted that I stay home and rest. So I pushed him around the garden with one hand and watched old movies in our home theater. Our relationship advanced quickly. We had reached a point where we could put arms around each other's shoulders and even share occasional kisses. I'm over the moon. While wandering around the house yesterday, I stumbled upon something. There were only 3 days left until my first wedding anniversary with Adam. I figured this was the perfect opportunity to take our relationship to the next level. So without a second thought, I grabbed a stack of cash and headed out. After wandering around the mall for ages, I realized that this novel world actually had one pretty realistic aspect to it. That is, I'm still as poor as ever. I'm clearly poor and remain true to my poor self. I pressed my right hand with my left, and my left with my right, barely holding back the urge to grab some money. Don't you know why Adam is going after Lincoln? For a split second, Lily's expression looked off. I raised an eyebrow. It was clear she knew exactly what was going on. She didn't just know. 90% of the time, her help had been involved in the stupid mess Lincoln got into. The love between those two wasn't just ignoring everyone else's well-being. It felt like they had to ruin others just to prove how deep their feelings were. Their relationship is so toxic that everyone around them suffers. Is this some kind of illness? I politely declined. Sorry about that, but my husband has more money. Instead of giving that to you, it would be better spent on a lawyer. It might even help reduce his sentence. But no matter what, I will make sure Lincoln becomes the first male lead to face legal consequences. Upholding justice in this fictional world is my duty. Upholding legal justice in the novel world is my bounden duty. Lily's eyes reddened instantly, and tears started flowing without warning. I know you think it's too little, but once Lincoln is out, he won't let Adam go easily. Haven't you always wanted to divorce him? I'll have Brother Yen help you. Would you really be willing to spend the rest of your life tied to that disabled man just for Adam's money? No, I'm not. I scratched my head and said sincerely, it's not about the money. I really want him as a person. I'm drawn to his looks. Those last few words were spoken with absolute conviction. Lily immediately fell silent, her expression filled with shock. I was speechless. What? Is there something wrong with what I just said? You have no idea how wonderful Adam is. He's handsome and has a great figure. Even sitting in a wheelchair, he still has a certain charm. A familiar cough came from behind me. I turned around and found Adam staring right at me. Now I'm bowing my head, searching Jihu for, what do you do if the person involved hears your reckless words? Is there still a chance to salvage your reputation? Even as Lily was politely escorted away by Adam's bodyguards, she kept struggling. Brother Yen is your cousin. How could you be so ruthless? Honestly, I was too exhausted to even bother arguing back. Looking at it that way, she and Lincoln really were a match made in heaven. I blessed them and locked them together. I swallowed the key myself. Just don't die on my doorstep. I couldn't help but sigh. The wise avoid the river of love, while the strong go from bachelors to masters and then to doctorate. This really makes sense. Adam suddenly jumped in. In that case, you shouldn't have married me. I'm different. I was already a doctor before I came here. I puffed out my chest proudly. I've suffered enough from studying. It's time to taste the sweetness of love. After speaking, our eyes met his deep gaze, and I suddenly realized what was happening. Pointing at him with mock indignation, I said, "You little sneak, you're trying to trick me." He took my hand, silently interlacing our fingers. So you can taste the sweetness. Holding hands is supposed to make up for it? I snorted coldly, squatted down to face him. Not sweet enough. Unless you kiss me, this isn't over. Adam looked around nervously. We'll do it when we get home. I planted a quick kiss right on his lips. Of course, a relationship should be sticky and sweet to be interesting. Besides, Adam himself was even more kissable than he looked. The night before Lincoln's sentence, I found Adam smoking in the living room. A cigarette was held between Adam's slender fingers, the glowing ember making his defined knuckles appear even paler. White smoke drifted in the warm yellow light. His features were immersed in it. Rather than softening, they took on a chill and loneliness. Seeing me approach, he clearly paused for a moment, quickly crushed out the cigarette, and spoke with a slightly hoarse voice. "Can't sleep alone?" It really annoyed me. Who in their right mind would sleep in separate rooms after being together for over 3 months? So, I kept sneaking into Adam's room all that time. I had a nightmare. I sleepwalked here. It's so scary sleeping alone. I tried every excuse one after another. But Adam was as stubborn as a rock, determined to keep sleeping in his own room. During that time, I even secretly searched for kidney-boosting secrets on Jihu, which unsurprisingly got me caught by Adam. My allowance was completely wiped out for those 3 days. The midnight snack routine was cancelled and replaced with early morning exercise. It was real exercise. I was completely drained. Let's just say I'm not mentioning who had to get up at a.m. for a mandatory indoor cycling session. Thinking about that, I gathered my courage and let out a low murmur. "So late. Aren't you tired of staying up? Is your sleep quality getting worse because you're older? You're only 2 months younger than me." That was the truth about my actual age. During this time, he even figured out what color underwear I prefer to wear. Between me and this character, we probably only share the same face and name. Everything else is completely different. Adam waved his hand in the air to clear away the smell of smoke, then held out his hand for me. I sat on his lap, wheelchair stacking. Adam didn't push me away. He held up both hands. "Looking helpless, you should sit on the sofa." "I'm not." I leaned heavily against Adam, feeling like a bully picking on someone weaker. Adam was just an innocent young man being teased by me, unable to resist. He, rubbing my hands like a fly. After a while of playful teasing, Adam's expression softened, and his arm around me tightened slightly. First, my relationship with Lincoln wasn't bad. My mom really liked Lincoln and always told me to look out for him. I remember he loved coming over to play when we were kids. She was a great cook and loved making desserts herself. Lincoln had a sweet tooth for pudding, so she always made some for him. I'd stand right beside her, smelling the scent of eggs and butter, waiting for the sunlight to stream in. The day after his family was destroyed, Adam was involved in a car accident. The doctor said he would be confined to a wheelchair for life. For years, the only thing that kept him going was revenge. And yet, Lincoln's first words were telling him to give it up. What irony. The elder who had treated him so well was the one he lost. But Lincoln only saw Lily's pain, showing zero gratitude. You really don't know how much it hurts until the whip strikes you yourself. I grabbed Adam's hand. For someone like that ungrateful ingrate, it isn't worth it. Just pretend your smart and well-behaved cousin is dead. What's alive now is just the result of his terminal romance obsession. Adam. Actually, I'm not hurting that much anymore. Really? I swung my legs happily. When did you figure it out? He stared at me fixedly, his eyes like a magnet, pulling me completely into those deep gaze. His voice melted into the warm evening breeze. Since you came out to see me, when you sat on my lap, when you called Lincoln a placenta. To be honest, that last line was a bit of a buzzkill, but it didn't matter. I knew Adam wasn't the type to speak with sweet words. These were just his clumsy, yet genuine thoughts. I rested my head in the crook of his shoulder and secretly blew air onto his neck, softening my voice intentionally. "So, shall we sleep together tonight?" This guy Adam actually pushed the wheelchair forward directly. I almost fell over. Adam spoke in a flat tone. "Let's go. I'll send you back to your room." Those last 4 words were spoken with finality. It was practically the definition of righteous and upright. Flustered, I shouted, "Just tell me straight. Are you really incapable? Don't push me, Adam. Let me tell you, I'm not afraid of you anymore. Believe it or not, I might secretly hire 18 male models behind your back and touch them all day long." Soft lips pressed against mine, silencing all my words. Probably because we had been making a fuss for too long earlier, Adam's breath carried no scent of smoke, only the faint smell of aftershave. "You bad boy, learning all these tricks." I sat back on my own bed with weak legs, still savoring the taste just now. Adam suddenly turned his wheelchair around and sat in the dim light at the doorway, looking at me quietly. "You wouldn't do that to me, right? I scratched my head. Of course not. I was just joking. Adam seemed to smile and nodded. That's good. Otherwise, I might lose control and hurt you, then lock you up. What kind of scary thing is that? Seeing me tense up, Adam smiled. I'm joking too. I couldn't bear to do it. He raised his lips in a smile. Go to sleep. Good night. Good grief. Did I just end up with a Yandra? As expected of a villain boss. I love him even more. Before the excited thought in my head could fully form, a mechanical voice suddenly blared out. A highly frustrated voice. Look at what you've done. I paused for a moment, recalling the tropes of those Transmigration novels, and tentatively called out, System? The voice grew even more agitated. Do you have any idea what you've done? The male lead is going to prison. You're welcome. He got exactly what he deserved. No way. After hearing those two words, I suddenly felt my body go hollow, and then clearly saw myself. To be precise, I saw Thomas open his eyes again. Thomas looked around, his brow furrowing tightly. Wasn't it agreed that I don't have to do this world's tasks? So annoying. I'm not into guys anyway. What's so great about Adam? He's nowhere near as good as Lily. Pfft. What a jerk. I instinctively reached out to punch him, but my hand passed straight through the body before I realized what was happening. I seemed to have become a ghost. The system's tone was also impatient. Something went wrong. I didn't expect this randomly appeared soul to fit this body so perfectly, let alone that he's actually dating that villain. You need to take his place and save the male lead. Are you kidding me? How can I save him? That lunatic Adam already killed me once. My eyes widened as I suddenly recalled a detail from our first encounter that I had ignored. No wonder Adam accepted my new identity so quickly. I thought it was because he completely trusted the lie detector. The real reason must be that he's sure he has already dealt with the original Thomas. The system sneered. Adam has always been a dangerous villain, but it doesn't matter. That idiot seems to have completely gained his trust. All you need to do is put on an act and get Adam to release the male lead. Could that idiot they're talking about be me? I tried many methods. For example, running from afar to crash into the body or trying to float out and shout for help. Not only were they useless, but I couldn't leave this body more than 1 meter away. Thomas lay on the bed, watching me lazily. I advise you to save your energy. Don't worry, I have no interest in stiff men like Adam. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Thomas got even more excited. You know, I've been diligently following the plot. First, I thought he was pretty decent and quite patient. I never expected him to make a direct move. 1 second I'm still going through the motions of the plot, cursing him behind his back. The next second, he's poisoning me. Then he just watches expressionless as I fall to the ground convulsing. He's completely unhinged. The fact that you didn't die at Adam's hands makes me more curious every time I think about it. Hey, tell me about it. As long as the plot goes smoothly, I'm leaving anyway. What do you mean by the plot goes smoothly? I remember the plot in the novel was that Lincoln took down Adam, the major villain, and seized all of his assets. Meanwhile, Adam was sent to prison for unfair competition practices. As for the character Thomas, after highlighting Adam's ruthless methods, there were no more descriptions of him. What a lousy plot. Thomas gave me a look and shrugged. Exactly as you'd imagine. Adam is destined to die alone. Prison is where he belongs, since he's standing in the way of the main couple's romance. I stared at him. Do you hear yourself? Do novels this brainless even have their own set of laws? Thomas felt quite confident and went to Adam's room right as dawn broke. He crouched by the bedside, pressing his head against Adam's palm, acting coquettish just like I usually do. My heart sank. It was over. Thomas had definitely gone through my memories with Adam. His posture and expression were so convincing that even I needed a few seconds to process it. As expected, Adam opened his eyes, wearing the same gentle smile as usual. I watched helplessly as Thomas pushed Adam for a walk in the small garden, casually bringing up stories from Adam's childhood. He smoothly steered the conversation toward Lincoln. Adam kept that warm smile on his lips, listening quietly and nodding occasionally. Sunlight, the garden, the dappled greenery, plus those two men whispering closely together. All the scenes were so familiar and harmonious. Even I felt dazed, as if I were just an irrelevant bystander. The smile on Thomas's face deepened. I've thought it over, and I don't plan to press charges for the kidnapping incident. After all, He is your brother, and I didn't want you to carry such a heavy emotional burden. Nonsense. Fuming with anger, I put my hands on my hips and shouted, "You're certainly generous. When Lincoln kidnapped me, did he not have any emotional burden? You hypocrite, get lost." The smile on Adam's lips deepened. "So, what are you planning to do? Let's withdraw the complaint. Don't sue. Family harmony brings prosperity." Family? Adam repeated it, seeming not to understand. Thomas held Adam's hands and knelt on one knee before his wheelchair, looking very affectionate. Our own little home. I reached my hand between the two of them, standing helplessly to the side in frustration. "Let go. Who wants a family with you? He is my husband. You are too." Before I could finish speaking, Adam suddenly let out a low chuckle. "So you mean, letting Lincoln go, and even sparing the Lynn family, is that right?" Thomas's expression stiffened for a moment. Then he softened his voice. "I didn't mean that. I just don't want you to push things this far. If you treat Lincoln like this, your mother-in-law wouldn't be at peace in the afterlife. Isn't that right?" Adam leaned back, creating distance between them and pulling his hand away. "I shouldn't have sent Lincoln to jail. On the contrary, I should be the one behind bars. Besides, all my businesses belong to him now. Lily and Adam will live comfortably on top of the company I built with my own hands. Isn't this the ending you arranged for me?" The expression on Thomas's face completely lost control. He looked like he wanted to flee, but as he tried to stand up, his legs gave out, and he collapsed back onto the ground. What did you do?" "Just a little sedative." Adam slowly revealed the syringe held between his fingers, staring at Thomas. "As long as you bring him back, I won't pursue Lincoln's responsibility." How did you recognize me?" Adam sneered. "Because your eyes are dirty. When he looks at me, the joy in his eyes is about to spill out. Also, he would never say such pompous words. His speech might be a bit crude, but it's quite charming." I felt both moved and annoyed. What does crude mean? It's just rough words with a sound logic. After all, what good words can I use to describe someone like Lincoln? Adam pushed the wheelchair closer, lowered his head with a gloomy expression like a demon from hell, and spoke word by word. "So, give him back to me. Do you think I wanted to do this? I've been tired of this lousy mission for ages." Thomas's, lying on the ground, gritted his teeth. "Here it is. A madman and a clueless fool. You two are a perfect match." Adam nodded slightly, his expression even showing joy. "Thank you. I feel the same way." Almost instantly, I felt a pulling force. Opening my eyes again, I found myself still lying on the grass, with roses pressing beneath me. "Oh no!" I sprang up immediately. It's over. The old butler is going to nag me to death for this." I liked pushing Adam around the garden, even if I ended up crushing some of the old butler's plants. If my memory serves me right, these very roses were ones he had painstakingly saved. Adam smiled and held out his hand to me in the sunlight, saying, "Come here," calling a puppy. My legs still felt a bit weak, so I mimicked him by waving my hand. "You come here." Adam rolled his wheelchair forward and tilted his neck toward me, saying, "I want to hear you say that sentence again." "Which one?" "The one about our little home." I looked into his eyes, plucked the fallen rose, and tucked it behind Adam's ear. "Let's go home." I didn't know what Adam had been thinking about every day while sitting in his wheelchair during those years of seeking revenge alone, nor could I imagine how he grew up. Now, I couldn't even begin to understand how he managed when he already knew everything was just a novel and that his suffering was dictated by the plot. How did he go on living with such determination while knowing the predetermined ending? I held Adam's face in my hands and studied it carefully for a long time. "You've taken good care of yourself over these years. Here's your reward." His voice was hoarse as he asked, "What kind of reward?" "A wonderful husband like me. Do you like it?" He nodded obediently and said, "I do." He was so adorable. I gave his cheek a kiss, then moved my hand down, trying to undo the buttons on his shirt. After fiddling with them for 5 minutes, I still couldn't get them open. Adam was trying so hard not to laugh that his chest was vibrating. Flushing with embarrassment and irritation, I sat on Adam's lap and pinned him against the wheelchair. "Show some initiative. Otherwise, don't expect me to go easy on you later." Adam wrapped one arm around my waist and slowly unbuckled his shirt with the other. "Prefer it from above?" I honestly analyzed the situation. Not really, I suppose. To be honest, I just didn't want to move. But since your body isn't exactly flexible, let me put in a little more effort so you can just relax and enjoy. Hey, wait. Adam stood up while holding me. Subconsciously, I wrapped my legs around him, afraid I might slip down. How did you? Don't expect me to go easy on you? Oh no, I was done for. I buried my face in his neck and gave a sheepish smile, begging for mercy. No, that was just nonsense. You even claimed before that your kidneys were weak, and said I was too old. I was tossed onto the bed. Adam cushioned the back of my head with his hand, leaning over me as he fully unbuckled his shirt to reveal his firm muscles. His voice dropped to a husky whisper. Let me be the one who works harder this time. After all, Thomas, you worked so hard pushing my wheelchair before. Now, it's my turn to give back. He gave back all night long. The next day, he even brewed wolfberry tea for me. He's so petty. Really, I'm speechless. As Adam had promised, he no longer targeted Lincoln, leaving him with a final shred of dignity. However, he hadn't promised to leave the Lynn family untouched. During Lincoln's detention, with the main obstacle removed, Adam uncovered evidence of the Lynn family's malicious financing schemes against Gu's family back in the day. The day Lincoln was released, the two elders of the Lynn family were just sentenced to prison. Lily stood at the entrance of the detention center, sobbing uncontrollably and demanding that Lincoln seek justice for her parents. Adam and I were standing there. When our eyes met Lincoln's complicated gaze, I spoke in a chilling tone. The evidence is solid. You were young back then and innocent. But if you're talking about seeking justice, that's absurd. Lily, didn't your moral education classes in elementary school teach you right from wrong? The great grievance has been addressed, and my darling husband won't pursue it further. If the two of you are truly deeply in love, the fall of the Lynn family doesn't stop you from being together. You both have your hands and feet and savings. Go live your own lives. After all, your love is bigger than the sky. Seeing Lily's displeased expression, I pressed my advantage. With a surprised look, I covered my mouth with my hand and blinked innocently. Huh. You wouldn't let something so obvious break your relationship, would you? No way, no way. Lincoln left in silence, still clutching that piece of evidence. Lily stumbled after him. I had no interest in their drama, so I linked arms with Adam and walked away. How about spicy crayfish for lunch? I've been craving it for ages. Adam's eyes darkened. Can you even handle that? My steps faltered as I seriously considered it. Don't mention it, but yeah, I really can't. I was so mad. I angrily shook off Adam's hand. Stop talking about it. We're ignoring each other for a minute. Adam held back a smile and followed close by my side, starting to count down. 60, 59, 1. Then he quickly grabbed my hand and looked at me pitifully. Time's up, you little guy. You've really mastered math. I wrapped my arms around his waist. In a couple of days, I'll submit my resume. Once I start earning money, I'll eat crayfish secretly on my own. Sure. Adam was surprisingly accommodating. You didn't already talk to all the companies, did you? Adam nodded, looking utterly innocent. But didn't you say before that office romances are exciting? You even wanted to play games with me. I reached out and covered his mouth. In broad daylight. I didn't. Don't talk nonsense. Adam took the opportunity to hold my hand and suddenly slipped something onto my finger with surprising speed. I held it up to look at it, a plain band that shimmered in the sunlight, matching the one on his hand. He looked at me quietly. Happy anniversary. Today marks exactly 1 year since we first met. So, can I break the rule and have spicy crayfish today? Adam sighed. All right. The gentle sunlight fell on our joined hands, the two plain bands emitting a silent, soft glow. From then on, every day was a good day.